So here we are.
Always good that the kids are having.
Uh-huh. Okay, so let's get started. I see a Stefan on the line. Who is Stefan? Stefan? Okay. Maybe it's Steven? Steve? Okay.
Could be.
Oh, could be. Why Stefan?
Oh, no,
Why you put Stefan?
I didn't put anything.
Really?
Really?
It says Stefan's iPhone. Who are you?
Let me have a look, see what it says.
Nah, that's okay. Just so you know, it shows Stefan. It's all good now that we have it figured out.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so here is today. The power of forgiveness to remove judgment. Okay, so how many times in your life have you felt the desire to hurt someone for the simple reason that they hurt you first? Whenever you try to enact vengeance, even if you truly feel it's justified, you create an opening for judgment to be enacted upon yourself. But when you resist an impulse for reactive vengeance, you bring forgiveness and goodwill into your life. So this reminds me a very big story of the Rav, of the Baal Shem Tov, who is a great Kabbalist that lived about 300-400 years ago. And he had a student who was agonizing, believing that this realm, this world, the life that he was witnessing was filled with injustice. Wherever he would go, whatever he would see and encounter, he would experience, not necessarily himself, but with other people as well, injustice. And so he went to see his master, the Baal Shem Tov, and told him about his big challenge. There is an injustice here, there is injustice there. And so his master, the Baal Shem Tov, told him, tasked him to go to a nearby village, 3 days walk. And once he reaches a certain hill, to hide behind a bush. And so that's what he did. He traveled 3 days walking, and he reached that nearby village, nearby 3 days walk, but they didn't have any cars or train or whatnot. And he found the hill, and he hid behind the hill. And as his master instructed, he just waited and waited and waited. And then he sees a first man walk by. And on the top of the hill, there was a big tree. And that man just sat down against the tree and fell asleep. At the time, people were traveling like he did for days on, from wherever they would work during the week, and then they would return home once a week or once a month. And they would come back with their paycheck, with their salary that usually was in a leather bag or whatnot, with a few coins. And that was their paycheck. Long story short, after his nap, he wakes up, stands up, and leaves. Now, the student of the Baal Shem Tov is witnessing the whole thing, and he noticed that this man dropped his leather bag with his entire salary. But he was clearly instructed not to intervene, so he didn't intervene. But here was his first injustice. A second man walks by, and he's intending to do the same thing, to go and rest against the tree. And as he sits against the tree, he finds this leather bag, and he opens the leather bag, and he finds all this money in the leather bag. obviously is very excited, sees God-sent opportunity, looks right, left, from behind, nobody's around. He's not going to bother to look who's the owner, and he just leaves. And the student of the Baal Shem Tov is witnessing the second injustice, at least in his eyes. Some time passed by, and there is a third man now that is intending to do exactly the same thing, finds the same tree, and is intending to rest after a day of walk. And he sits against the tree and he falls asleep. Now the first man comes back to look for his money, and he finds this man sleeping against the same tree. Wakes him up abruptly. Where's my money? The man wakes up shocked. I don't know what you're talking about. There is no money here. And the first man starts kicking him and beating him up. I want my money back. There is no money. And so the third man is all bleeding. The first man is all upset and angry. And they both part ways. And the student of the Baal Shem Tov again is witnessing now the third injustice. He goes back very quickly to his master and tells him the story. You see, first injustice, second injustice, third injustice. There is injustice in this world. And so the Baal Shem Tov tells the student, to every situation, we are limited with our five senses. Things are bigger than we think. There is always a bigger picture. And so we want to know what the bigger picture is. And so the student is very eager. What is the bigger picture? How can there be a bigger picture to that? And so the Baal Shem Tov tells him, reveals to him the reason why he sent him to that nearby 3 days village, hiding behind this bush and witnessing for hours on what's going to happen, is because those three men were involved in some business in a previous lifetime. The first and the second were doing business, but the first stole from the second. And so the second just got his money back in this lifetime. Okay, fair enough, says the student. So what happens with the third? Why did he need to get beaten up if they just, settled their account? And the Baal Shem Tov says, oh, you don't understand. The third one was the judge that took the bribe under the table. So the moral of the story is that there is always a bigger, larger, greater reason, bigger picture to everything that is happening. And although it might not make sense to our rationality in the moment, and we might judge the situation or even the person that is wronging us, there is always a bigger picture. So if right this moment, today, yesterday, somebody wronged you and somebody really hurt your feelings and stole from you, lied to you, disappointed you, or whatever the reason might be, there is a bigger reason. And we need to always remember that the main reason why we're coming to this world is to correct whatever it is that we have done in one lifetime, 2, 3, 5 lifetimes ago. So sometimes the Zohar is challenging in its teachings, meaning that sometimes you read the Zohar and it doesn't make much sense. And sometimes it is straightforward. Sometimes that you read, which means that you read it and, okay, so it's crystal clear. This section uses a simple, clear story to reveal the power of true forgiveness. The traveler in this section was not even aware of the 2 miracles that had saved him from danger, but it was the power of forgiveness he had practiced throughout his life that protected him. Rabbi Abba learns of this power from the traveler, and we in turn are taught by Rabbi Abba. So I'll read one verse from the Zohar. when the computer stops moving by itself. Okay. רבי אבא הווה יתיב התראה דרבבה, דלוד חמה חד ברנש דהווה עתה, ויתב, וחד קולתה דלתה דהרעה, והווה להם מערכה. ויתב ונאם תמנה, עד הכי חמה חד חיוויה דהווה עתה, לגבי נפק כוס תפה דקור דגה, דקור דנה, וכתל אלי, לחיוויה כד איתר הוא ברנש, חמה הרגו חיוויה. לכבלי דהבמית איז דקף הוא ברנש, ונפל הוא קולטה לעומקה. דתחותוי ואיש תזה. אז רב אבא the city Lord, its traveler standing near the edge of a cliff on the mountainside. The traveler must have been weary from the road, for as Rabbi Abba watched, he lay down and slept. While he was sleeping, a snake came towards him. Then a lizard suddenly appeared and killed the snake. When the traveler awoke, he saw the dead snake and stepped back from the cliff. Just then, the cliff was torn from the mountainside and fell to the valley below. But the traveler was saved. If he had awakened a moment ago, later, he would have fallen to his death. Rabbi Abba approached the traveler and said, "What have you done that the Holy One, blessed be He, performed the two miracles for you, saving you from the snake and saving you from the falling cliff? For these events did not happen without a reason." The traveler replied, "In all my days," is funny today. "In all my days I forgave and made peace with any man who did evil by me. If I could not make peace with him, I did not sleep on my bed before forgiving him and all others who had aggrieved me. And I did not harbor hatred for any harm that had been done to me. Moreover, from that day on, I tried to do kindness by them." Rabbi Abba wept and said, "This man's deeds exceeds those of Joseph, for those who endured Joseph were his brothers. Assuredly, he should have pitied and forgiven them from brotherhood. But this man was forgiving of everyone. So he is greater than Joseph, and is worthy to have the Holy One, blessed be, perform one miracle after the other for his sake." So what is happening here is tremendous, because the Zohar takes as example Joseph the righteous, who had many miracles happening to him, but he has forgiven his brothers who threw him to the pit and then sold him as a slave. So they have wronged him many times, but the Zohar says, okay, but it's not as much of a big deal, because at the end of the day, after the years passed, and there were many years that passed after they've done whatever they've done, he forgave them. But maybe it's also because, family is family, and you end up forgiving them no matter what. But in the case of this man, Rabbi Abba was witnessing a miracle after a miracle. Maybe it's like a metaphorical, maybe it really happened. The point that the Zohar is trying to make here is that when we are in a spirit of forgiveness, when we're in a spirit of making sure that there is no hatred that is lingering in our heart before we go to sleep, that can guarantee that the Creator, that the life force of the Creator, is going to lay out all those miracles that we are, by the way, witnessing those miracles or not. This man didn't even witness those miracles. He went to sleep and a miracle happened. He left the cliff and a miracle happened. And he didn't even know. If Rabbi Abba wouldn't have come to him and tell him about those miracles, he wouldn't have known that they would have happened. So the moral of the story is that not only miracles will happen in our life, and we need miracles more than ever today, is that we are aware of them, or that we're not aware of them, we are going to experience and we're going to witness miracles. The one task that the Zohar is telling us, this is what you should do if you want to experience what this man has experienced. Just make sure that before you go to sleep, that you don't harbor any hatred, and that you have forgiven anybody that has wronged you. So there is a short meditation to end this passage. Everything that happens to you is the effect of something you have done in this lifetime, or even a former one. Or it may be an experience that is being given to you to assist in your transformation. In either case, what takes place is exactly what you need at that moment. Once you understand this, forgiveness for those who have wronged you is easy. In fact, vengeance will even be replaced by gratitude. Meditate on this section to awaken your ability to forgive for truly forgiving. So we're going to say those words together. You can just close your eyes and repeat those words together with me to awaken the power of forgiveness within our heart. Kol yomai la ashlem li bar nash bisha be'alma bela itpaisna bahade umachilna le ותו אילה יחילנה להתפייסה בהדה, לסה לקנה, להרסי, עד דמחילנה ל. ולכל אינון דמצערו לי ולך הישנה כל יומה להרהו בישה, דאשלים לי ולאו די לי דה, אלא דמהרו יומה, ולעלאה השתדלנה למעבד עם הון טבע. Okay. You can read it in English. In all my days I forgave and made peace with any man who did evil by me. If I could not make peace with him, I did not sleep on my bed before forgiving him and all others who have aggrieved me. And I did not harbor hatred for any harm that had been done to me. Moreover, from that day on, I tried to do kindness by them. Okay. I think that was a powerful lesson. Until next week. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you so much for being with us from Arizona.
Of course.
Thank you.
Thank you, Yehuda.
Enjoy.
Yes.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Love you. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Have fun.